Hello and welcome to another video. Today's video we are going to make a really interesting card layout where it's kind of like a split panel, but it's going to be from a corner of our cardstock here. So let's get started. I don't even have one pre-made. I figured we'd explore and play with this together. So to start with, I am starting with a piece here of the Forever Greenery DSP. It has some beautiful patterns. We've got all kinds of colors, and for this one I chose to pair it with a piece of Pear Pizzazz. While this here looks like it might be soft seafoam, I thought that the slightly darker color would go really well with the Pear Pizzazz. And worst case, if I try it and it doesn't look good, we will switch it. And actually what we might do is just flip my paper. So we'll see. So let's go ahead then. Each of these pieces here are actually an entire card front size. So it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 for each of these two pieces. This one we're going to use the entire piece for. This one we're actually going to be cutting and laying on top. So let's do that here in a second. I wanted to do all the stamping and get that out of the way first. So because of the patterned piece I've chosen, it has this kind of piece right here, and it's got these kind of leafy piece here, and I've added the corresponding dies from the Forever Greenery dies. And I've added this little piece here, and I thought that this could be a nice little accent as well, and I thought that this one in the soft seafoam would be nice. So let's go ahead and get those ink pads. I think I'm going to try to keep them about the same. I'm not entirely sure if that's Old Olive or let's check. So on the back of the pack of paper, every time you can always see what colors are in there. I think that must be some kind of Pear Pizzazz, but maybe like a slightly darker tint to it. So yeah, so there's Pear Pizzazz, Garden Green, Just Jade, Pear Pizzazz, Pretty Peacock, Shaded Spruce, Soft Seafoam, and then White. So in this case, we're going to grab the Pear Pizzazz. I think I'll use this for Soft Seafoam cardstock, and then the Pretty Peacock. So let me grab those real quick. Okay, so there we are. We've got those. For some reason, I didn't have those handy. So let's grab a scrap. So this piece here is actually small enough where we'll be able to get a piece of it off of just a 1/2 inch strip, which is fantastic for using up some of those strips without taking up too much of your paper. So let's go ahead. I have just a scrap of Whisper White right here. I'm using the thick Whisper White card base, by the way. So let's go ahead and get our stamping done. I'm only going to pick, I'm going to stamp one of each of these, and I think I'm going to die cut maybe 2 or 3 of these. So we'll see. I might stamp a couple extras if it looks like a little bit sad. We'll see. So my ink pad for this one's pretty juicy. So I'm going to, let me move this here. I think I'm going to put it here off to the side a little bit. Ooh, where it's not taking up too much space. Let's not ruin good paper. Oh, it's not too bad. Very good. Let's stamp 2 just for good measure in case one has a slightly better. Ooh, that's a little. So notice it's really, really juicy, and that's actually too much. I think it's going to be distracting. So I use, and actually, where did I put it? I had it handy somewhere. Here we go. So I used an old credit card or an old gift card, and you can actually just gently push. Oops, let's not get ink all over my sleeves. You can actually just gently push on your ink pad, and it will just gently push the ink towards the bottom of your pad. So notice here it's collecting right there. So let's actually just kind of gently put it back on the pad. There's no reason to, lose the ink. So I'm just going to gently put it down there. There we go. It's also, this one's also very dark, so it shows up a lot more. So I'm going to set this off to the side. I'll clean it off in a second. So now if I wash this off and I stamp it again, and actually here, let me just grab a scrap of paper. I was using this as a scrap earlier. So let's kind of, and intentionally try to get as much of it off. And then I'll wipe it with my Stampin' Chamois, and then we'll restart and you'll see how much of a difference it makes. So, got that. Let's clean that. And as much as it does not look clean for you guys, I promise you it is. Although after today's project, I'll probably need to clean it, rinse it out in the sink. So, now that I've pushed it down, if I tap it, much more muted. That's going to be a lot better in terms of a better look for my ink, or for my stamped image. Let's see if I can get a nice, use up my space well here. I think I can get it right there. Hey, look at that. And see how that's much more crisp? That's really kind of, let me put it up a little higher. See how that's really kind of, I mean, it's still nice. I can still use it on a card, but look at how crisp this particular image is, right? The texture is really obvious. So, that being said, here's a trick. There are two sides to every piece of paper, so you can actually just flip this and do the same thing on the opposite side, so that way you've got two copies of this and a stamp if you wish. So we're done with the pretty peacock. Although we'll see, I might use this one to stamp our sentiment. We'll see. I have not decided that yet. Here's our Pear Pizzazz. Same thing. This one actually might be a little dry. We'll have to see. And then in this case, it fits perfectly right here. Oh, that's nice. And while I have it out, I think I can fit another one right next to it. And there we go. So that way, if I die cut one a little bit off or whatnot, it won't be too bad. So now let's go ahead and stamp our sentiment. I'm going to use the stitched rectangles to get this one out. And let's see. What color do we want it? I think it might be wise to do the pretty peacock for that one, actually. So let's do that. Get our pretty peacock out, especially since we've already pushed that ink down, so it should be better. And then we'll just stamp this right in the middle, so we've got a little wiggle room with our dies. There we go. Beautiful. So now with that, we're done with our stamping. So that's one of the benefits of kind of having an idea. We'll see. If I royally think I've messed things up, I'll fix that for later. So I am ready now to die cut these out. So I'm using the Forever Flourishing dies. And like I mentioned, I'm using these two plus this guy to get these out. So I'm going to use my Stampin' Emboss machine. It's so much more portable than the other one, which is nice. It's also not as heavy, which is also nice. So for this, because we are using it just for dies, what we need is to follow the instructions. So we're using a die, so we need to use plate 1, plate 2 on top, and then a sandwich with plates 3 on the top and 3 on the bottom. So I'm intentionally keeping one to be my my die cutting plate, and this one I'm intentionally keeping on top. You can tell here that this one, well here, let me move these. You can tell that this one's much more scratched up because of all the die cutting, whereas the other one is indented, but it's not scratched. And that's on purpose because essentially when this one becomes unusable, this one can become my cutting one, and I can put a new one on top, and essentially just it'll add longevity to each of my plates. So let's go ahead, get that ready. There we go. Sorry, that's a bad angle. So let's go ahead and try to die cut out what we can, and let's see if we can get 2 out at the same time. So let's go like this. We've got our die for this one here, and let's see, yeah, nice and lined up. Do the same thing for this one. And so for these, I recommend that when you put your top plate on there, that you set it on very gently, like kind of angle it and then have it come down so that it holds it in place as you do it. So let's go ahead, run that through. And for those of you who have watched my videos consistently, you'll notice that the first time I used this machine, it was making all kinds of noises. And obviously now, as it's gotten more use, it is kind of found its own stride. So, pop those two out. Let's do the same for the opposite side. And for this one, I'm actually gonna just pop this off because remember we stamped that one on the other side. So let's go ahead. I'll do that. And then put it here, get that ready to go. And then do the same thing for this guy. There's that. Sometimes I'm really good about having a pre-made one ready to go, and this time I was like, let's have them see exactly how long it takes for some cards. Alright, so I've set it down, all lined up. Let's roll. And then I can always look and see which ones maybe has the better look. So there's that. Pop this out. Looks good. My dies off to the side so I don't lose them. Got a scrap there. Same thing here, another good piece. And then now I just need to die cut out my sentiment. And these little guys. So let's do these first so I can put my dies away. So, same thing. In this case, you can put the cardstock down first. If you want to conserve your space as much as possible, you know, you'll want to make sure to center it as much as you can. But since I know I'm going to hide some of it, I can actually make it kind of go off the side there a bit. And then, there we go, and down. And then you can do, you know, one more, a couple more, however you see fit. I have not actually made this card yet, so I have no idea if I'm going to like the design, if I'm going to want to keep it or modify it. So, you know, there's that as well. And actually, in this case, I'm going to switch the direction in case I kind of want to have a little bit on each side. That'll make for a nice look. Alrighty. So, there we go. And there we go. So if I want to make more, I've got a nice little strip to get a couple more out of there. But for now, we are happy with that. So let's get our dies. So we've got our rectangle stitched shapes. And I think one of these nice long ones is actually going to do the trick right here. Let's see. I'm going to think that the second largest in this strip is going to do it. Let's see if I am right. Ooh, that looks good to me. So let's go ahead, line that up, and run it through. If you are ever die cutting with something that's like square like this, what I recommend you do, oh, that's the bottom. What I recommend you do is send it through at a bit of an angle, because what happens is if you send it through straight on, the actual pressure wheels in there that help push the two panels together don't like that, and so you might end up warping your die if you do it. So be extra. Oops, see, look at me being. Let's use a piece of tape for this one. So I keep when washi tape retires, I keep it around so that way I've got some good washi tape to hold my dies in place. You can just put it on your fingers or put it on you know, your pants to help get a little bit of the sticky off of it. So let's have it nice and lined up, a little bit of space. And I am actually making a wedding card because my husband's cousin and my husband's cousin and her now husband recently got married, and due to the pandemic we were unable to attend. It was also many hours away, but I thought I should still send a lovely card, and so that is what I'm doing now. After, of course, I finished making it, I'll send it their way. And there we go. Lovely, beautiful. So now just set all of this off to the side, close this up, and hopefully the assembly will be much faster. So for now, all you got to do is get your card base ready to go. So this is not exceptionally difficult. Like I said, all you do for this piece is adhere it straight onto your card front. But this is the piece that you get to do something kind of fun with. There is no right or wrong way to do this, which is extra fun. So essentially pick a point, I'm gonna make it go from this point and it opens up this way. So I'm actually gonna put it here, and let's have maybe there. And make sure that the point of your cardstock goes into that crease there. So I'm going to just lay it down, make sure my paper hasn't moved much, and then up I go. Okay, and now you're going to do the same thing, but with this piece, and obviously on the other side, and you'll want to not start on that edge, you'll want to pull your blade up from the bottom. So there's that. Let's see about, there we go, that looks good. Whoop. So now, if you had all your pieces together, it would look like this. But what we're going to do is, because we're going to take this piece away, what we end up seeing is a beautiful slice of this paper. So let me show you what that looks like. So let's adhere our paper down first. And because we wanted to have some really good coverage, I'm actually going to use Tombow for this. I feel like our seal would have done well too. But because I'm adding lots of those layers, I really don't want this thing to move. So I'm going to add this with the Tombow. And then the added bonus is that if I set it down not quite perfectly evenly, it's got a little wiggle to it. So there we go. Beautiful. So there's that, and you can always flip it to the other side and see there's a hair overlapping there. So I'm actually just going to use my snips. If it was much wider, you could have used your paper trimmer, but if it's going to be this narrow, I highly recommend that you just use your snips. And all you do is essentially let the blade rest on the side of your card base and then just trim. And that way it'll keep it nice and trim without giving you a jagged card siding there. Beautiful. So there's that. And now you just pop this on top. And you can either make it flat like this, or you can actually pop these up on dimensionals. And since I'm adding these guys, let's see what I think. Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave these flat on my card, and I might pop these guys up. I think that's gonna be a wise thing to do. So let's go ahead, add glue here to these pieces, and you could have your panel coming in a different direction. I made my card an upright card, but you could make yours more a landscape if you wanted it versus portrait, right? There's lots of options here. So there's that, and then same thing for this piece. And then when you're all done, you've even got that extra other strip that you can use for a different card or an accent piece or for scrap for die cuts or punches, right? Lots of opportunity there, so that this is definitely not wasted. You could probably even have a reverse piece where you've got a full piece and this guy's in the middle covering it up. That could be fun too. All right, so let's see here. So we've got this. I was kind of envisioning as having something like at the bottom and then having these guys kind of popping out from, you know, behind. Let's see if that looks like that would work. So I've got, yeah, I got that and that, and then this. I don't know. I feel like it might seem a little bit busy. What do you think? I think, yeah, it might look a little bit busy. Well, you know what, for funsies, let's take these all off for now, and let's try something a little bit different. Let's try, where is it? Right there. I wonder if maybe instead I put a little bit of this gold twine behind it and kind of wrap it around with a bow maybe. And then, ooh, and then I've got, because it's gold, I also have my gold enamel dots, gold glitter enamel. Oh, let's do that. So let's put these off to the side. I can always use them for a different project. So let's do that. I will pull this. This is why it's kind of fun to create on the fly as well. So I should do what, maybe 3 loops? 1, 2, 3. Alrighty. Okay, so let's set that off to the side. Since I want to have that sentiment kind of at the bottom, well, I could have it at the top to show more of the card. Yeah, actually, let's do that. So I'll have this here. 1, 2, and 3. And I can just tie that off. And now, here's a trick. Ready? If you've ever gotten it where it's not quite even, if you twist your paper a little bit, or if you bend your paper a little bit, you can totally scooch all of whatever you've put on there. Ooh, like this. So that's kind of fun. And then if I put my sentiment on top, hey, that's not bad. So now let's see about doing the same thing. So see here, I'm going to bend my paper and then just gently tug a little bit. And then that will not ruin your paper either. So there's that. Oh, that looks nice. And then I'll add some glitter enamel dots. Fantastic. So let's do that. Add some add some dimensionals. I'm going to add 5 just because there's that little that twine underneath. And I want to make sure that these dimensionals will essentially help keep it in place. So here we go. We are nearly done. So, and what's nice too is that this kind of design can be used with any paper. And the reason I picked this one is that until the end of this month, October 2020, you can actually get 15% off of this paper, but this is not the only one that you can get a discount on. You can also get a discount on others. So I recommend that you take a look and see. I'll show you here which ones those are. Oh goodness. Let's pull that. Actually, let's redo this completely now that it's in place because of the other thing. Let's do that. Loop, loop. And actually, let's pull you all the way through. That could be nice. Yeah, there you go. That works. So, so there's that. And then let's add some gold glitter enamel dots. So I'm just going to pop these on. Let's do kind of from the bottom, kind of like that. And I think since this is, going for family, instead of doing 3 for our, odds, let's do 5. Let's pull this one. My daughters were using my take your pick tools for their crafting, and I have not yet found it in their hot mess of a room. So I'll get there eventually. I need to do that here soon. So now all you gotta do is fold it down, and there you go. You've got yourself a lovely card using these kind of beautiful greens. If you are interested in knowing which other papers are on sale, you've got the Artistry Blooms, 'Tis the Season, the Forever Greenery, which is what we used, the Poinsettia Place, the Trimming the Town, Plaid Tidings, the Twall Tidings, Peony Garden, Whale of a Time, Heartwarming Hugs, Magic in This Night, Snowflake Splendor, In Good Taste, which is a great deal because it has a lot of sheets of paper in this one, the Playing with Patterns, and then the Playful Pets Contact DSP there. So if any of those interest you, feel free to get in touch and I can help you add those to your next order. I'll have all of the ingredients of what I used for this recipe up on my blog and linked below in my YouTube description. If you wish to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe so you can see these on your feed, and even select to get notifications if you want to make sure you don't miss any of them. And I hope to see you guys in the next one. I'll see you then. Bye. Bye, guys.